everybody, welcome back to my channel. We're going to continue our 2018 paper pack challenge, and today we're going to be making stocking holders, something a little different than what we've been making, but we are going to use our pattern paper. And what I've done is I've cut some panels, and it measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and these are going to go on these pieces of wood like this, and then I'm going to mount everything together. This will go on here, this piece here will go on the back for support for this piece, and then we're going to put a hook in the front and turn it into a stocking holder. Okay, this is going to be like a couple step process, so I'm going to stop the video and then I'll link everything together so it's one continuous video. But for today, what we're doing is, right now, I am taking the pieces of wood, and this right here is a 1x4 board, and so a 1x4 board actually measures 3.5 inches, and I cut it at 3 inches. So this one here is a 1x4 board cut at 3 inches. Okay. This board here is a 1x6. And I cut it at about 4 inches. Now, saying 1x6, this actually measures 5.5 inches. So if you're not familiar with wood and how it's cut, you'll just want to make sure that you know, you kind of plan things accordingly. If you're familiar with the way lumber's cut, then that's perfect. You know what I'm talking about. So this was a 1x4, this is a 1x6, this is a 2x6, and it is cut at 3 3/4. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to stain these pieces of wood. I've cut them, I sanded them, and they're ready to be stained. What we're going to stain them with is some Distress ink. This is Festive Berries Distress ink. And I've done this before, it does work. I haven't used this color, but I've done this before and it really does work. I've got a little bit of water in a plastic cup here, and I'm going to start out just one. I'm going to squeeze it, and I'm going to get you know, like a dropper full of the Festive Berries ink, and I'm going to put it in my cup of water. And then I have a paintbrush. I've got some plastic down here on my work surface so I don't get this all over my top of my table. So I'm basically just going to take that, and I want this to be ever so slightly colored, okay? And my paper has a kind of a pinkish tint to it. There's some pink accents and so forth. So this is not going to be a bright red. If you can see through the video, it's just a really light coloring of like a pinkish reddish stain, okay? So I'm going to go through, I'm going to do every side. And the sides that are that are porous, like the open ends of the wood like this, they always absorb more of the coloring and the stain, so they will be slightly darker than, say, the smooth parts of the wood, okay? Okay, I'm still coloring the wood, but let me tell you what I went and done, because this was pretty light and I wanted it a little bit darker. So I went and got my little Distress ink pad in Festive Berries, and I'm using that, and this porous part of the wood is really not wanting to absorb this ink, but as you can see on the top, this is much darker than this, but they're the same color. So I am using my ink pad to lay down some ink, and then I'm taking my water that has the ink in it as well and spreading it around. forest moss. Okay everyone, we are back and we are going to start assembling this stocking holder. What I've done is, you've seen me stain or color the pieces of wood, so I've done that. Then I sprayed it with some triple thick clear spray, some sealer, and I sealed all 3 pieces. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this clear Gorilla Glue. You could use wood glue, whatever. But this is what I had right here in the workshop. This is my front here, although I don't like that black piece. Yeah, this is my front. This piece is just going back here for support so that I can lay this against here. So I'm going to take my Gorilla Glue and I'm going to adhere this with a brad nailer as well. So I'm not going to use that much glue, just a little bit. I'm just going to put just a little bit like that and then stick this, line it up with the back. Like that. Okay, now this is my battery operated brad nailer and it's dirty. I've actually had stain on my hands when I've used it. Whatever. Anyways, I have some short brad nails. I'm not sure what size they are, but they're the smallest ones I have. So that's what I'm using. And I'm just going to put a couple in here so that it makes that stick together. Now, if you do not have a battery operated brad nailer, which I know some of you don't, you can use some clamps and just wait till the glue dries. You can use a hammer and nails and you can do it that way. Any way to affix all this together, you know, totally up to you. So now I'm going to take my Gorilla Glue and just put a bead of glue along right in front of that piece I just laid down, just like that. So there's just a bead of glue right there. I'm going to stick this, and this is my front side here. Stick it on here like this, center it up. Then what I'm going to do is, I'm hoping I can get my nailer in here. It's going to put one on that side and one on this side. Okay, so now it's all together. Now what we're going to do is take our piece of scrapbook paper, and it's going to go on here just like this. Now I will tell you, obviously the wood, you can do the wood however you want. You can paint it with acrylic paint, you can spray paint it, you can, give it any look that you want. When I've used the distressing to color wood before, it's just fun, something else to do, If you're wanting kind of a washed look like this, and you can thin out some acrylic paint if you don't want it to be so opaque, you can just thin it with some water and it'll give you a washed look as well. I'm going to adhere, believe it or not, I'm going to adhere the paper to my stocking holder with some score tape, okay? it will stay. I'm gonna put one piece in the middle, just for the sake of having some extra adhesive. Okay, now at this point, if you wanted to, you could take some Mod Podge and go over it. You can give it some kind of a oh, you know, shiny finish, matte finish, whatever you want to do. I think I am going to just take my regular glue mixture that I have, which is just Elmer's glue and water, and I'm just going to go over it to coat it, and then once I get a coat of that on there to seal it off, if I had any resin, I would use resin probably just to brush on and put a thin coat, but I don't have any resin right now. Well, you don't want to stick resin on paper anyways. You always want to seal it with something first. So I'm going to seal it with glue, and then once I get it sealed, I'm going to take my triple thick spray and I'll spray the whole thing one more time, and then we're going to decorate it with some glitter paper and a bow, and then put the hook on it for the stocking holder. Okay, so that was the red one. This is the green one. I'll assemble this one on camera as well. This wood we're continuing making our stocking holder with our pattern paper. I went inside and used my Elmer's glue. This is just some Elmer's glue I put in a squeeze bottle for my convenience. I just coated the whole thing with glue, brushed it on. You could use Mod Podge, whatever. So I just sealed this paper off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glitter paper and make it look like a present or a gift. Then we're going to drill a hole and put the hook in it to make it a stocking holder, alright? I have 4 pieces of paper here. They're 1 inch wide, and they're all different lengths. These 2 pieces up here are going to be for the bow. So this one is 6 inches long, this one is 3.5. These 2 pieces are going to go along the vertical and the horizontal lines. And this one is 5.5, and this piece is 4 inches. So what I'm going to do is, let me attach those first. And I think what I'm going to do is, I'm a big fan of dry adhesive, but I really want to make sure this stays. So what I'm going to do is, to make sure that it stays right now, I'm going to put this dry adhesive. But then I'm going to take this Tombow clear glue, and I'm just going to lay a small bead of it along the side of that dry adhesive, or the double-sided tape that I've used. And so the tape, double-sided tape, was 1/2 inch wide. So now we'll just center it up on our thing there, like that. Then we're going to take this one, do the same exact thing. We're going to strip down the center with the dry adhesive. Then I'll take my glue and just run a thin bead of glue. I'm using the fine tip of the glue. I really like that. So I just get enough. I don't have a big glob of glue. and we'll cross this way to make it like that. Obviously you can design this however you want. This is just what I pictured in my head, and so that's what we're going with. Now, to make the bow, if you had some of the pre-made bows, whatever, you could certainly put one of those on here right now. This one, I'm going to use the envelope punch board and I'm going to make my bow. So on your 6-inch piece, what you're going to do is you're going to line it up at the 3-inch mark, and you're going to punch, and then you're just going to flip it over, line it up again at the 3-inch mark, and punch it. There's no scoring involved when you're making a bow, you're just punching. So then what we're going to do is we're going to slide the end of our paper over to the little notch, so that we're lining the paper up with the left side of that. So we're just cutting the end of the paper off, so it looks like that. And we're going to do it to the other end. So we'll punch, and we'll just flip it over so you get a piece that looks like that. Now this one here, this is the actual bow. This is the base of the bow, like the backing of it, and this is 3.5. So we're going to line this up at 1 3/4 and punch. Going to do the same exact thing as far as the middle section. Now when we come to the ends, instead of lining it up like this, we're going to turn it and line it up like this. So I'm centering my strip of glitter paper, centering it up with the opening of the punch in the front here. And it's going to give us a little tail or a flag end for our bow. Okay, so that's all the punching we need to do for the bow. Now I'm going to go ahead and just pull this back out, my little scoring tool, and just gently on the inside of my bow, give it a little bit of a curl. I'm gonna break those fibers of the paper just a little bit, and it'll be easier to go together that way. Now I'm gonna grab my 1/4 inch score tape and run a strip of that in the center here. And then all we're going to do is take our ends of our bow, gather it up in the center, beat everything up in the center, grab this side, beat it up in the center. One thing I didn't do, which I'll go in and grab real fast, I have to cut another small piece that's like 1/4 inch wide by maybe 1 inch long to go in the center of the bow to kind of cover everything up and make it come together. So I'm going to grab a piece of that here in just a second. So now all we have to do is lay this on top of here like that. So I'm going to grab my adhesive again, and we'll lay a piece across here like this. And then we'll take the back of our bow where we joined everything together. It goes down just like that. Okay, so there's that. And then I think, let's see here, this is where I throw all my scraps, my little ends and whatnots. I'm going to need that, and I'm going to need on my other stocking holder, I'm going to use some red foil cardstock for the trimmings. So what we're going to do is just take a piece of this left over, and I'm going to snip off about 1/4 inch strip. We'll put some adhesive on this piece here. Take the backing off. And then you're just going to simply take that piece and affix it to the front of the bow, wrap it around the back, and that brings everything together. So you have a bow just like that. You can mix up the colors if you want. You could put a different colored center in there. You can also, what I've done before is, excuse me, I've taken different colors of papers, and you can layer them. Like if I wanted to put just a thin, like 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch strip on the glitter paper, you can layer colors and things. So there's a lot of options. So then now we're just going to put our bow on there like that. I just have to see how you want it. I'm just going to put it on straight like that, but I am going to put it on with some foam dots, I'm going to lift it up a little bit. So just going to line the back of the bow with 4 of these small little foam squares. Okay. And then we'll stick it. You know what else I'm going to do? I think maybe, let's see. I'm going to take a little bit of my clear glue and just kind of put some, even though this is going to be lifted up, if any of this touches the other glitter paper, it'll just help hold it on a little bit. All right. So we'll center that up there. Put that on. Kind of fluff our bow up a little bit. Okay, so that is, that's this one. Now what we're going to do now is I'm going to take my drill, and I have just a, I don't know what size this is, just a small drill bit. And I'm just going to eyeball this, and I'm going to take it and just start. I'm not going to do hardly any at all, really. I'm just going to start a hole. Because these hooks here aren't very long, and I don't want to drill out the hole and make it so they won't stay. So let's see if that was enough to make it stay. These also too, I got gold. They don't really come in too many colors. They might come in silver. If you want to paint these, like if you wanted this to be white or red or whatever, any other color than what it is, you can stick these in some paper or some floral foam, styrofoam, like this, and then you can paint them and then put them on. Right now, I'm not going to do that. They're fine the way they are. I'm just going to leave them the gold color. So that was enough of a drill to start it. It is getting a little harder to turn, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can get this to go. Alright, so just half a turn more here. And almost. So there we go. So that's your stocking holder. And then you can hang your stocking. It will hang off the side of the... I'll take a picture of it with some stockings hanging once I get the other one done, and you can see what they look like. All right. Alright, so here they both are, and we are going to just keep on trucking. I think we have about probably 5 more projects to do in the Holiday Paper Pack Challenge, and we'll be about around 50 projects, and that will probably be the end of it. So I'll see you next time.